Today we're going to be talking about how do you get that dream away rotation. Some people call it an audition rotation, which is an important step for people going into a lot of specialties as they look to prepare for residency. Hi everyone, my name is Bernice. There are a few steps in this process. The first one is you have to ask yourself, do I even need to do an away rotation or an audition rotation? There are several reasons why you may need to do an away rotation. There are certain fields where an away rotation is all but required or heavily expected as part of your application. And an example of that is the field that I'm going into, which is emergency medicine. Other fields where this is the case include orthopedic surgery, a lot of really competitive specialties such as neurosurgery, and others heavily encourage away rotations. In the case of emergency medicine, at least, the rationale behind the away rotation is ERs look so different. There's county hospitals, academic centers, there's community hospitals, and they want to know, one, have you been exposed to those other types of settings? Number two, are you able to operate efficiently in a place that's outside of your home institution? They feel like you getting a letter of recommendation from outside of your home institution as well as from your home institution will help paint a more well-rounded picture of what kind of resident you'll be. And there are a few other reasons why you may want to do an away rotation. If you have a program or a geographical region that you know for a lot of times personal reasons you must be. For example, if you have a significant other who has a job in a specific city, or if you have something that is pulling you to a specific program that is more or less non-negotiable, then you are likely going to want to show your interest, go and do a more in-depth audition for those program directors so that they can have you highly on their radar because they've seen you, and they've seen you for more than just an interview day. They've seen more than just your application file. Doing an away rotation can be risky. In a 30-day period, one of those days may be an off day for you. Perhaps you're not as sharp that day. Perhaps you're running late. That may not be by and large how you would be as a resident, but perhaps you work with somebody that day and they make that report in your file. It's a risk. So you want to make sure that you're prepared for your patients. You've done some reading on different topics. You are eager and ready to help every shift. If you don't need an away rotation, meaning that you're not going into one of those specialties where it's expected, and you don't have that particular geographic pull to a certain place, then it may not be necessary for you to do an away rotation. And honestly, that's gonna save you time, energy, and importantly, money, because away rotations, it costs money to apply, it costs money to travel to them, it costs money to find lodging, to live there. Don't add unnecessary things if you don't have to. After that, you're gonna wanna choose your program based on your residency goals. If you're in that bucket of people where you're doing an away rotation because you are really trying to get to a particular program, talk to your friends who have done away rotations, or you can look at sometimes online blogs and that sort of thing and look, where are other medical students saying, I had a great experience with that rotation, I learned so much. Another really helpful thing is, where do you know people that you can crash with? So you probably don't want to be double paying rent that month. Then you want to figure out what is the mode that you're going to need to apply to them. The majority of away rotations are located on this website called VSAS, which stands for the Visiting Students Application Service.
On VSAS, you're able to keep track of any rotations that you've applied for, and you can look for any new places to apply. You can filter programs by specialty, location, and more. If we click on a random program here, we can see that it lists the requirements for the application, the date ranges that each rotation is being offered, and the deadline for applying.
Unfortunately, though, there are also some programs that are outside of it. Are you going to have to go to the school's website and apply? Are you gonna have to do a paper application? Are you gonna have to email in your application? Do you need to get in contact with an individual for them to even send you the application? Keep track of the list of places that you're looking at applying to, and then what steps you need to take to gather all of your materials. Then you're gonna want to write out all of the requirements for the programs that you need to prepare in advance. You're also going to want to look at BSAS or look at the school's website and determine what day does that application come out, because your best chance of having all of the options that you would like to have is going to be to have all your materials and everything ready to submit on the day that the application is released. The biggest requirement, and the one that gets the most med students, is the immunizations. I think every program that even I applied to, for example, required that you have all of your immunizations up to date, but not only that, they want you to draw titers, meaning blood levels, to make sure that the immunity levels for all of your different immunizations are up to date. You are gonna have so much more peace of mind if you get that appointment in early, finish everything that you need to finish, and then just have those ready for whenever the applications open. Additionally, some programs want essays, others are gonna want letters of recommendation from different faculty at your home institution. Most of them are gonna want test scores, so you're gonna wanna make sure that you've taken certain exams by the date so that you have those test scores released. There's just different requirements at different programs, and you can always clarify those by contacting the clerkship directors of these programs. I would personally recommend that if you have everything prepped, meaning all of your immunizations prepped, have your letters of recommendation kind of all set, all of those sorts of things by about mid-February, then you're gonna be the safest. A lot of these programs will release all of their away rotations for the entire academic year at one time. And the earliest one that I saw was the end of February. That's why I think mid-February is gonna just give you the most options. But even if it's a little bit past that, you'll still be fine, and there are still going to be plenty of options. Now, you're gonna want to know what set of dates do you have available, or can you fit into your schedule for you to do your away rotation? Are there months that are more ideal for you than others based on when you need to take exams, or based on personal commitments or things like that? Because you're gonna wanna pick a month where you don't really have any other commitments except for doing this away rotation, so that you can be completely focused, your mind isn't on other things, and you can perform to your best ability. There are a span of months that are more ideal than others, and you're gonna see the vast majority of people who are doing away rotations are going to do them in the summer months leading up to the application. So residency application due dates are mid-September. Part of the benefit of the away rotation is that the programs that you're applying to will have seen you more recently, and whenever it comes time for them to choose which residents that they want in their pool, they'll be able to remember, oh, I worked with that person recently and they performed well. That's why you're gonna see a lot of people choose to have their away rotations anywhere between June through September. Past September, it's not impossible, but it is gonna be a lot less useful than if you would have done it earlier, because you're gonna want that letter of recommendation from your away rotation to come out so that it can help with your residency application file. However, doing the rotation before June can be a little bit early. I've seen people do it and they've had great success. It's just that it's going to be more beneficial for you to do it a little bit later, because you're going to be a little bit more fresh in the minds of the people who are picking the residents for each program. Something to consider with these months, though, is those are the most popular months, and especially July and August. Those are very popular months, and those are also really hectic times for programs because they have all of their new interns, their new residents, and so it can be harder to get a rotation during that time. So if you can be flexible, if you're able to do September or even May, odds are just gonna go up. If there is a specific region or specific program that you really know that you wanna go to, then you can apply for multiple months for that program. It will increase your chances of getting a spot at that place, but it's gonna get more expensive if you do that to a lot of programs. But once you've submitted them, the waiting game can be the hardest part. Medical students can be a little bit of a type A personality. First thing I would say is breathe. It's gonna be fine. The next thing I would say, though, is sometimes if you really haven't heard from a place for a long time, just let them know that you're interested. This is a delicate balance. You do not want to stuff people's inboxes. However, it can be helpful to shoot maybe one email out. I can't speak for everyone, and I'm also not a clerkship coordinator. However, anecdotally, I can say that can help because the programs want to fill their spots with people who actually want to come to their program. So if you indicate to them, your program is a place that I am really trying to rotate. I'm very interested in being in your city, or I'm very interested in seeing the way that you guys operate because you're a program that's of high interest to me. Sometimes they will see that and they will keep that into consideration, and they may put you on a wait list. So it doesn't hurt to just let your interest be known, but don't pester people. Once you commit to a program, do not drop it. Before you get the offer and you say, yes, I accept the offer, just make sure that that's a time that you actually can make it. You're not gonna have a lot of other commitments and you actually go. Because you don't want any kind of bad press following you before you start your residency application process. And last but not least, it's not the end of the world if you don't get to do an audition rotation at the place that you really, really wanted to go. You can go somewhere else and you're going to learn a lot. And who knows, you might fall in love with another program that you weren't even considering. And that's actually, that's kind of best case scenario, right? Because you didn't even know that you were gonna love this place, and you go and rotate there and you're like, wait, this is actually a place that I can see myself getting wonderful training. So don't count out any option. Stick close to your mentors, talk to other medical students. You know, there are people who can support you through this process, and it can be really stressful, but it will be okay. Okay? I wish you guys all the best of luck with this process, and let me know if you have any other things, if there are other things that I didn't address here or you think would be good for other students to know. Let's make the comment section into a community of people where we can share different tips and tricks so that we can all make it through this process, okay? And don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. It's Bernice signing off.